See, the world is starting to wake up to all this bullshit. Now, y'all heard what that man said. They be beating this girl up after the whistle, bruh. Beating her up, man. And all y'all want to do is tell us, we casual fans, we don't know basketball. This is a physical sport. Man, ain't no physical sport. It's hate and jealousy, bruh. And they be beating that girl up, man. And the WNBA allowed this shit, bruh. But like he said, the world's biggest star. But let me guess. He buck dancing. He glazing. He tap dancing. He a coon. Come on, bruh. The world is starting to wake up. The biggest star in probably sports right now, bruh. Y'all letting this girl get done like that. And that's probably why she hurt. And we all know it.
The headlines are screaming louder than a soap opera climax as Caitlin Clark is hip-checked into next week and side-eyed like she stole someone's lunch money. You won't believe how quickly the media changed into her own bodyguards, helmets, whistles, and more. Stick around because the actual WNBA drama will make you wonder if this is reality TV or sports. Dirty plays disrespect. Well, it's not just drama. It's a full-blown circus with popcorn and flying elbows.
Referees ain't gonna do it. Somebody got to do something, right? But let's head on over to X right now. Pull up this footage, man. Shout out to the homeboy Mike.
Obviously being fouled. Right in the first quarter, Caitlin Clark obviously being fouled. The refs don't call it.
And it's crazy because let me go back there. Because the referee's literally right there. Like, bro, you're right there.
Somewhere along the line, someone chose to take a dictionary, tear out the page on physicality, and replace it with a page from a WWE script. Suddenly, drive-abys take the place of shoulder checks, and hard screenings begin to resemble assault charges. The distinction between good, hard basketball and downright goonery is enormous, and for some reason, that memo was mistranslated, particularly when Caitlin Clark's name is being used.
Why is this happening? And I went back and I was thinking, the Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. There are, the WNBA opening game for Caitlin Clark set all-time records. There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all that now care because Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA.
Let's go back to the beginning for a moment. Physicality is a key component of the game and what sets serious competitors apart from casual hoopers. Your bones should be able to sense it. Elbows connecting beneath the rim as they swing in the paint bodies. Nobody wants the league to become a spa getaway with scented towels and little physical contact since it's basketball, not ballet, but the problem isn't physicality. Rather, it's when basketball toughness turns into target aisle tackling practice.
I can relate to that young lady. I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a black woman and hated because of my color. Yeah. I can't imagine this young lady. I don't want to use hate, but despise. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative. And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't true.
Right.
And the media act as like they are blind, tone deaf, and suddenly colorblind. They also seem to have forgotten how replays operate. When Caitlin is flattened, they go into full Helen Keller mode. While another video of her hitting the hardwood goes viral, she gets hacked like she's in a Mortal Kombat demo reel, and what she gets is silence, crickets, and possibly even a shrug, as if she slipped on a banana peel rather than being sent airborne. There is no sight, sound, or statement, just tumbleweeds rolling across ESPN panels.
They need to start finding these women, bruh. Finding them, suspending them, and make an example out of somebody, bruh. We ain't gonna tolerate this shit, homie. We not gonna be tolerating this shit right here. What's that guy's name that's getting ready to come to the NBA? The white dude? I can't think of his name right now. The rookie that's going to Dallas. I guarantee you, man, they is not gonna be letting that dude get treated like Caitlin Clark, bruh. And all the men in the WNBA ain't gonna be jealous and shit neither, bruh. We know what we see, bruh. The problem is this, man. A lot of people don't like Caitlin Clark, bro. They just hate the girl so much, man, that they just can't even when the truth is staring them in their face, they chose to go the other way, bruh. That's what you call hate.
Hate now. Contrast that with the NBA's heyday. You could bulldoze Michael Jordan, but you had better be prepared to see him smirking at the free throw line seconds later. That's how basketball was officiated with real logic in the past, but in the WNBA, he went to the line, where there were whistles and consequences. The referees react to Caitlin's body slamming with the zeal of a DMV employee on a Friday afternoon, but here's the funny part. When fans point out the ridiculousness, the supporters of this chaos emerge as though it's their civic duty to protect uncalled fouls. They discuss physicality as though it were a sacred ritual or a misinterpreted art form, as if lining someone's clothing is some noble act of resistance. They claim that it's the culture, as if it was forged in basketball fundamentals. The next thing you know, they'll be handing out brass knuckles at tip-off and calling it team strategy.
But with all that being said, the WNBA referees has been having issues with getting these calls right when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the Fever, bruh. And I'm telling you, we have another case of that. And shout out to all the fans that, put these TikToks together, put these videos together, kind of, breaking down everything that has happened with the WNBA referees, because we have another game and we have another situation where WNBA referees failed to make the right calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever. But then people want to get mad when Sophie Cunningham pretty much did what she did.
If Caitlin were anyone else, there would be panel discussions, therapist couches, and Oprah specials about protecting women in sports, but she is too successful, too popular, and way too blonde for the narrative to easily wrap itself around her. As a result, rather than justice, we get glorified violence, excused as gritty defense. Let's just call it what it is. Some of these hard fouls would be felonies outside of an arena. The irony is that if physicality had a public relations team, they would be bringing defamation cases. It's difficult to compete when you're constantly playing dodgeball with other people's shoulders. There's a difference between trying to knock someone out of their wisdom teeth and testing their game, but people can't seem to tell the difference. Caitlin actually embraces tough play. She's not asking for ballet fouls and fairy dust. She wants a challenge. It seems as though they enrolled directly in How to Be Petty 101, skipping all of the basketball classes. Why is this even more hilarious? Every shove, every trip, every body check becomes content if your sense of humor is broken and your life is nothing but chaos. Viral videos debate demonstrates #activism with all the depth of a cat pool, and the league profits from her injuries before telling her to ignore the publicity and
all the videos that everyone on social media has me watching, a lot of clips from the WNBA right now too, and it's absolutely crazy to me to see the types of fouls and the lack of calls that are having on them from these refs that the players are doing. They're just straight hacking each other. And we wouldn't even allow that at our kids' games that we go to watch, let alone in the NBA. And it's just wild to me that you have somebody that took stadiums which only had 7,000 people in them to attend live games to completely packed and tripling the ticket prices.
The same media sites that previously claimed she was overhyped are now covertly sharing pictures of her black eye for engagement. A contemporary sports romance injured her and then made money off of her recuperation. And let's not forget about those referees. With cameras on every inch of the court, you would think that officiating would be tighter than a conspiracy theorist's corkboard, but instead they see Caitlin fly across the baseline like she was just ejected from a cannon and nothing. No whistle, no tech, just a gentle jog back to the other end. Caitlin also pulls herself off the ground like a cartoon character after being steamrolled by a train, and when she dares to appear confused or irritated, well, here come the hot takes. She needs to calm down because she isn't used to the league and should adapt to the basic laws of physics being disregarded. Adapt to referees who mix a bedtime story with the rule book. In addition to adjusting to being the sole player held to gladiatorial standards in a league that aims to promote family-friendly basketball, let's also address the locker room elephant. Oh, the jealousy is thicker than blender-blended protein powder. Some athletes view Caitlin as a walking billboard for everything they feel they are underappreciated for. So rather than improving their own skills, they use her as a punching bag both literally and figuratively. It's not tough defense. Rather, it's performative bitterness with knee pads on it. But despite all of this chaos, she continues to show up, score goals, and attract spectators who wouldn't otherwise attend their hometown parades. Every step Caitlyn takes turns into another Sports Center highlight. Every silent whistle becomes another sold-out arena, and every time someone tries to make fun of her with a cheap shot, they only serve to elevate her legend, because this is the secret sauce. Caitlyn doesn't just bring talent, she brings receipts. Nobody wants to acknowledge that she gets bigger the more they attempt to break her. The WNBA sought publicity and succeeded, but now they find themselves in a predicament they created for themselves. They keep prodding Caitlin Clark with a stick in the hopes that it will lay more eggs while acting as though they aren't the ones chasing it around the barn. So, sure, let's continue acting like this is about physicality, watching bodies, fly birds, and media narratives disappear. Do gymnastics good enough for an Olympic qualifier, but don't be shocked when fans begin to wonder if this is a basketball game or a reboot of American Gladiators. When that next difficult play sends Caitlyn into yet another viral spiral, perhaps the focus will finally shift from the idea that she needs to be stronger to why we are allowing this to happen in the first place.
The Caitlin Clark effect continues to go wild. We are witnessing a cultural force that has not been seen since Tiger Woods. Let's talk about the effect her teammate has gotten over the last couple weeks. Sophie Cunningham defended her Fever teammate last week in a scuffle against the Mercury, in response to what many people would consider a bit more hazing than usual for Caitlin Clark over the last year and a half. Next, let's look at the top followed WNBA athletes in the league right now. Just in the last week since she defended her teammate, she has now gained over 1 million followers collectively. By the end of this week, she'll probably be top 4. Now, we don't have official figures for TikTok, but she is at 1.3 million followers on TikTok now.
Speaking of awkward facts covered in polyester and poor calls, let's talk about the referees. By referees, we mean masters of vanishing penalties, because if Caitlin Clark is holding the ball, the rule book apparently takes a coffee break, the whistles go off, and she disappears into a black hole. It's as if the officials see her driving into the lane and getting mugged in 4K and say, "Play on, folks, just another Olympic-level tackle on aisle 3. At this point, it's really amazing. We've witnessed more contact in Caitlyn's last 10 possessions than in an entire hockey season, and the referees are treating it like interpretive dance. With arms flailing, legs flying, bodies crashing, and still silence, you'd think they were using noise-canceling headphones for meditation.
You think that was dirty by Caitlin Clark? Let's start there. You think that was dirty by Caitlin Clark?
It don't matter. It was basketball. It don't matter if it was dirty or not. It was bad. I mean, we seen intentional dirty plays in both leagues. It don't even matter if it was dirty or not. It was a foul. She stopped a layup.
It was a foul. It was a good hard foul, and Caitlyn wasn't even wrong for going to defend her teammate because it was some good hard fouling going on. That's it.
That's all I have to say. Let's stop acting like this is subtle. You would have to be a devoted hater or completely blind to what's happening. Caitlyn isn't just being defended. She's being singled out, clobbered, and thrown around like a piñata at a child's birthday party, and people are out here pretending that she tripped on air or flopped for drama. No, this is survival, and she still has the audit to get up, hit a 3, and run back as if her spine weren't being rearranged every quarter. She just needs to be tougher. This is what she signed up for, and it's good for the game. Oh, really? Getting mauled is now character development. When did basketball become a full-contact morality test? That's what's really fascinating about the growing number of people who bend themselves into intellectual pretzels to excuse it. According to that reasoning, we should simply lay gravel in place of the hardwood and allow people to resolve their disputes on foldable chairs before continuing with this chaotic sequence of events. Coached with the help of her whistle-wielding heart, Christie sides White has somehow managed to do what years of jealousy and drive-by fouling couldn't. She has transformed Caitlin Clark's own squad into a masterwork of sabotage. Bravo, coach. You deserve a standing ovation for ensuring that the system surrounding her will not be ruined by the referees.